Hey, what's happening, YouTube? It's still September 11th, 12:20 in the afternoon, and I just went for a long random drive and listened to Donda all the way through. And yeah, I don't know what I did before on the Amazon Music app trying to stream it, but obviously I did it wrong. It seems like every time there's an update on that app, they make it a little more awkward to just simply listen to albums that you like. And I'm sure that's just, trying to get the features that the average person wants, and I realize I'm not the average person. It seems like most people these days are listening to playlists that are generated by algorithms and aren't really into listening to albums. Yeah, which is probably, a large part of why I don't listen to streaming music that much. Anyway, thoroughly enjoyed Donda, beginning to end. It didn't hold my attention the way previous Kanye West albums have. There were some tracks that I absolutely loved and some that just sort of, they were okay background music, but they didn't just really engross me. And a lot of that, honestly, I think had to do with the abundance of featured artists and just the inclusion of current mumble rappers, which I just am not into. If 50% of your song's lyrical content is bleep, boop, and shit like that, you've lost me. Just saying. Just kind of is what it is. That's not my musical taste. I did definitely like the end of the album. It ended with a rather long speech over a instrumental bed, and it was kind of reminiscent of the last track on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, Who Will Survive in America, which has got this really great speech from Gil Scott-Heron, which was super profound, and that was kind of the vibe I got on the speech at the end of Donda. And at this point, I'm super curious, like who the person is giving the speech, and who the incarcerated father is that he's referencing. And I don't know. And there's probably some people going, "Wait, you're really a Kanye West fan? Have been for a long time?" Yeah, I don't read everything that comes up. In fact, there's so much bullshit that comes up press-wise regarding Kanye West that I kind of actively avoid a lot of it. So, so I'm kind of out of the loop on that. The way it's been with upcoming Kanye West albums for the last several years, the more press that starts happening, the less I listen to it, because I just don't want it to taint my opinion of the album. The album finally does drop, so at least mission accomplished there. Anyway, damn, it was long. Really long. Didn't really do much other than drive while I was listening to it, which is why I'm clear the hell down here in South Chandler. I did drive by. Now as I segue to a completely different subject, I did drive by Rally's and try to use my one receipt. The only time I've ever actually done one of the surveys in order to try to get a discount at Rally's. And the whole reason I did it is that the girl who served me, like the customer service the last time I went to that at Rally's, was really, really surprisingly good. The drive-thru had a long line. When I got there, the girl working the window was super sweet and apologetic, and honestly, I didn't feel like I'd waited an exceptionally long time. It was busy, and it seemed like, in spite of the fact that it was busy, that I got my food pretty quick, and it was exactly what I ordered. It just felt like the service was really good, and she's just like, "Hey, we've got half our staff, and I think I even vlogged about this when it happened. We've only got half our staff. If you could, complete the survey, and that would, really help. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. And I figured, the next time I'm over in that part of town, and this isn't like Greenfield and University, which is not a part of town I go to very often. I mean, the only thing that really brings me to that part of East Mesa is going to Trey's karaoke shows at Roosters, which I haven't been too much lately. Because I've been just so hard at work and trying to add new stuff to my own karaoke library in anticipation of the new gig starting at the Union Jack. So anyway, that's the first time I went there, and I hadn't really read the small print on the receipt, and so I thought I should probably do that before I try and redeem it. And I couldn't remember exactly what intersection that darn Rallies was on anyway, so I got pulled into a parking lot at all while listening to Donna. Which the fact that I could even do this while listening to Donna is kind of a testament to how much it didn't fully hold my attention, as opposed to like the first time I listened to The Life of Pablo. Like, I wasn't reading or looking at anything else. I was just like engrossed in the album. And the same thing goes for My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I actually had a project I was working on during that, but I mean, sometimes I kind of had to stop the project I was working on because I was so engrossed when I first listened to that. Same thing for first listen to 808 Breaks and Heartbreak, 808 and Heartbreaks, which is funny because that particular album, I just kind of bought it on a whim. I was really not that much of a Kanye West fan prior to that album, and that album just absolutely sucked me in to the point I forget. I think I was actually driving my cab, and I got so lost in that album that I just stopped taking calls that were coming in and just drove and fixated on the album. So yeah, at that point, wherever I was in Donna, which is so long, at that point it was just like my hunger and curiosity about this receipt as a coupon kind of took precedence to my engrossment in the music. This is what it is, and on that note, my first listen to Yeezus didn't completely grab me either. In fact, my first listen to Yeezus, some of the tracks, it was just like, this is, I don't want to say this is terrible, but I'm not feeling this. And then again, like a week later, after several other listens to Yeezus, I thought it was like one of the greatest records I'd ever heard. So, understand, this is my first time of really listening to it all the way through. So second listen, it may strike things of it that didn't really grab my attention this time might grab me more. But anyway, yeah, my attention kind of waned, and I'm hungry. Because as you saw in the last vlog, the Del Taco near me is closed. Damn it. Until further notice, there's not even a date on it, so God knows what caused that. But I can't imagine it's good. Anyway, so I'm reading the details on this, and I can't believe I didn't notice this right away when I was filling out the survey. And I guess my focus on that survey that day was just the cashier was just giving me such an impassioned plea to do it that I kind of really wanted to do it for her. And I was actually at Trey's karaoke show, and I wasn't really connecting with anybody, so it was something to kind of fill the void while I was waiting for my song to come up. So anyway, the small print, which absolutely killed me when I finally read it, is that it expires within, let's see, and yeah, I'm not reading that kind of small print while driving, but I think it expires within 7 days of completion of the survey. Yeah, there was a pretty solid 0 chance of me going back to, and it has to be used at the location where you, it has to be used at the location where you did the survey on. I can't just use it in any other checkers or rallies. So yeah, the odds of me going back to that rallies within the next 7 days were pretty damn close to zero. So I'm just like damn, I've been keeping that in my dashboard for a month and a half. Ain't that some shit? Anyway, no, I probably won't take the time. And as I recall, the survey was kind of long too, and it's for a free sandwich with the purchase of a drink, which is a great deal. Even though their drinks by themselves are kind of pricey, but I mean, it's still a great deal. But yeah, I don't see me taking the time to do it again, other than I might just do the one for my visit today, just because I wasn't really happy with the customer service that I got today. I'm not happy with a certain change that they've made to their menu, and also I kind of want to, in the open comments, kind of express my dissatisfaction with the whole, really, I got to redeem this in 7 days. Yeah, not always going to a Rally's that's right around the corner from my apartment, because there is no Rally's anywhere near my apartment. So, in fact, I think the closest one to me is Priest and what do you call it? Priest and University. And the customer service has been so bad there for so long that I hardly ever go there anymore. In fact, it seems like half the time I go there, during what should be their business hours, they're not even open. So how that location is still in business is honestly beyond me. Although in defense of Checkers, the burgers that I got, even though they weren't exactly what I had asked for, they were very good. So at least I ate. And I was probably able to focus on the second half of Donda a little bit better because I wasn't hungry while I was driving listening to it. So there's that. So the Healing Field Memorial, that's the flag thing I mentioned earlier over at, for 9/11 over at Tempe Beach Park. It is definitely there. I could see it from Loop 202 as I drove by it. And I'm definitely going to go there at some point today and make a video about it. Definitely want to try to get there before it gets dark out, because my phone just is worthless at shooting video in the dark. But of course, running these other vlogs when I'm driving around is sucking up what little limited space I have on my phone. Plus, I'm sitting on the one from yesterday, which I haven't uploaded yet as well. Sitting on that one because because the one from Thursday night, I'm really determined to crop that so it's not vertical video. So what am I doing right now? For those familiar with Tempe, it probably looks like I'm on my way to IKEA, but I'm not. I'm on my way to Beyonce. I'm on my way to taking this a lot of traffic right here. I should turn left there. I am on my way to Guitar Center. Oh, and I better have a mask, because the last time I went in there, I had a manager get really shitty with me about my mesh mask. Really, that makes me want to put the mesh mask on just as a fuck you, but yeah. And speaking of Trey's karaoke show, the last time I was there, he told me that he had bought an AKG VHF, like their lowest end AKG VHF mic for $100, and he really liked it. And there was a time, I forget the model number of those mics, but there was a time that I was using those mics pretty much exclusively. And at one point, I think I owned like 4 of them. They don't have XLR outputs. That to me is a downside on them. I do think they have a balanced 1/4 inch output. Although, I'm running such short lengths of cables, with my mic receivers, that it's not like I'm, even if I do have to use an unbalanced 1/4 inch cable to hook it up, it's not like I'm losing, gonna have any risk of noise or losing a signal. But I just really like running XLR. What can I say? VIP parking, I think. Yes, it is. I did stop buying those because what ended up happening with them is the mics, they sound phenomenal. Absolutely love the sound. I mean, I've never heard an AKG mic that didn't sound good. Receivers, small. I just like that they don't have an XLR out, but other than that, really basic, really simple, and yeah, like the overall design of the receiver. But the mics, the actual handheld mics, kind of poorly made. The real issues I had with them is right around the head where the microphone element goes in and the mic cover comes off. They crack from age. And I don't know if that's just from the abuse of being used for karaoke, or if that's more of an issue of the type of plastic that was used in them. Just doesn't deal well with the heat and the arid climate here in Phoenix. I mean, keep in mind, a lot of times they would be stored, in my trunk, or probably getting exposed to 115, 120 degree heat. And it's easy to say, well, that's abuse, you shouldn't do that to a mic. But the reality is, I live in Phoenix, Arizona, and I'm a mobile karaoke DJ, and that's just something that my mics are going to be exposed to. They're going to deal with that kind of heat in storage. I can't afford to put all my shit in air-conditioned storage and make sure it's inside the air-conditioned portion of the car from point A to point B immediately. So it's possible that's what messed them up. But anyway, I did have problems over time with the switches shorting out, and then the microphone elements where it cracks, just kind of falling apart because of that. And then with my attempts to try to piece it back together, try to piece the microphones back together, I had them end up getting shorting out, and I've kept them because I do believe I can probably put them back together. I'm pretty good at rebuilding and repairing stuff like that. Although I did have one time I paid a shop to do one, and it kept working for, I want to say, a month, if that. I didn't go back and try to get my money back from the shop. I felt like they did what they were supposed to do, and it just kind of was what it was, and I do think they kind of advised against repairing it in the first place, and I said, no, go ahead and do it. So yeah, I decided if I'm going to ever repair those, I'm going to repair myself. Now, my big disappointment, and the reason I stopped buying those, is I just noticed that I went through the mics pretty quick. Meanwhile, the receivers were still just fine. The receivers, and I still have them all somewhere, they're like brand new still. And my big frustration with them was that that I had these receivers, and I'm steadily collecting like more receivers with dead microphones. And although I read online, I think on AKG's site, that the mic is supposed to be purchasable separately, but AKG doesn't actually sell on their site. They just have product descriptions and statistics, and you can download PDF copies of the manuals, but they don't actually do retail sales on their site. So you need to connect with a retailer like Guitar Center, which is where I'm headed. And I looked and looked and looked online, and of course went into Guitar Center, and I couldn't find anybody that sold the microphones separately from the receivers for a situation like mine, where the mic is just broken to the point where it's going to be very difficult to repair, but the receiver is still good. And keep in mind that, I think most of mine I paid probably around $124, but it's not unusual for them to come on sale for like $100. It seems pointless to go to a shop and spend $50, $60 to repair the mic and not get the mic repaired very well when I could buy a new one for $100. But I hate the concept of e-waste and throwing away components that are still good, and I've still got like 4 of these receivers that are perfectly fine. Anyway, because of that, I swore I'd stop buying these, and I switched over to the GTD. I forget what the name of the series was, but I switched over to GTD mics, which I used for many years. I was very happy with them. Right now, I'm on a budget crunch, and I'm been wrestling with this, and I haven't bought a new mic for use at Bullocks because I have access to a really nice Shure handheld that belongs to the bar, which I've mentioned in this vlog before, because I've previously had some issues with it, but it's been working great for quite some time now, and ever since Appa got it back on the frequency for me. By the way, Appa, thank you. Yeah, so it's but that one doesn't belong to me, and yeah, I can't just take that out of Bullocks to do my own show with. So I've done a couple of shows. I did a handful of shows over at Bullocks, just using my my one remaining functional Voco Pro and my horribly beat up Audio Technica that Billy Muna gave me like 12 years ago that refuses to die. It doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound awful considering all that it's been through, but it doesn't sound good. In fact, I was kind of surprised because I brought that one with me to the Union Jack to sound check on Tuesday, and I sang about half of While My Guitar Gently Weeps, and Kevin, the owner, seemed very impressed with the sound of that mic on my one powered speaker with no subwoofer, and I got applause from the staff, and I was just like, wow, if y'all are happy with this, you're gonna be this is like about as bad as a mic can sound and me still keep it in service, and you're gonna be happy with the other stuff. But anyway, I don't want those to be the only two mics I do this show with. They're paying me good money. In fact, they've actually offered to buy me new mics, and I will probably, I've turned that offer down twice, but at this point I will probably take them up on it. I just feel like I need to do a little bit more research on specifically what mics I want them to buy me. I think me saying, oh yeah, well get me some Sennheisers, get me some Shures, is just being stupid and greedy. I'm not sure I want to go with the new GTDs. I've heard that they aren't what they used to be. And even when I was using these GTDs and overall I really did like them, they have a very unidirectional pickup pattern, which becomes problematic with karaoke singers that don't know how to hold a microphone. And yeah, I don't think I want to go back to dealing with that. Anyway, this is kind of a stopgap thing. I'm not planning on switching back to these inexpensive AKGs, but I figure, as I vlogged earlier today, that one of my credit cards is maxed out. I do have plenty of other credit cards that are not, and I'm thinking it would be worth $100-ish to at least have one nice, good, solid working mic, even if it's a temporary stopgap solution. And I'll probably talk to Kevin after the show and just kind of, or like next week sometime, and just let him know, hey, exactly what my mic situation is. And I mean, I think he understands I'm coming off of a period of being underemployed, and the money issues that have come with that. Just kind of let him know, it's, hey, my equipment is good, but certain things, yeah, my microphone situation kind of dire. And who knows, maybe I can actually talk him into, as I'm able to buy some better, like, kind of forever mics. I use the term forever very loosely, but kind of their like multi mic set. I definitely like the ones where you've got two or four mics in a single receiver. I like that form factor, so definitely want to go that route. When I pick out exactly which one of those I want to go with, that I feel is a good value, where I'm getting a good quality product, but at a not a highly jacked up price, which is kind of how I feel about Shure. I mean, I'm not going to knock the mics; they're great mics, but I feel for what they are, for what they charge, it's not worth it to me. Never has been. But yeah, when I get that, I don't know, maybe I can talk him into integrating that and making that, at some point, that becoming the property of the bar, that particular mic, and working into something where bartenders can make announcements over the house PA with it or something. I don't know. Anyway, at this point, it seems like I really should get it. It's money worth spending on credit so that I have a really good show and no microphone issues on Tuesday. So without further ado, I'm going into Guitar Center. Thanks for listening, and I'll be back.